What's up, YouTube? This is Jay, and I just finished watching the Republican National Convention. And of course, the keynote speaker and the final speaker was Donald Trump. Um, they had Hulk Hogan and Kid Rock and all of these people there, and I really didn't listen to those speeches. I really wanted to hear what Donald Trump said. And Democrats, y'all have a chance. Y'all have a chance. So I don't know if Joe gonna stay. I don't know if Joe's gonna go. I just think that you all need to make a decision right away because that speech was trash. And Donald Trump, you should have stayed on cue. You should have stayed with the teleprompter. First of all, you started at 10:30, and between 10:30 and 11 o'clock is prime time. Man, you overwent and just rambled and rambled. So first of all, Donald Trump, I knew they were gonna milk that assassination attempt for days. And baby, when I tell you milk, they did. Oh, he milked that assassination, and then he was trying to appeal to the evangelicals, which I was just like, right. Then you all, I thought it was so weird. I thought it was so cringe worthy when he went to that man's fire uniform and kissed the hat. And the thing that pissed me off about it is that the name was spelled wrong. The name was spelled wrong. I'm like, who does that? And you all, I was upset because the New York Times, again, I'm going to repeat it again, the New York Times had already reported that Joe Biden had reached out to the family of the deceased who was at the Trump rally. The wife, out of respect of her husband, did not take Joe Biden's call because he was a Trump supporter. So, but Joe Biden did the right thing, and she acknowledged that Joe Biden called. But at the time, New York Times reported that Donald Trump had not reached out to the family yet. Joe Biden was the first to do that. Now, all of a sudden, Donald Trump has his uniform and kissing the hat. It was cringe worthy. Cringe worthy. So that happened. Then it didn't stop there. He went back to them black jobs again. So he started talking about the illegal aliens are taking jobs from black people and Hispanic people. And not knowing that a lot of the Hispanic people or people from Latin American countries are coming in. And let me say this, you all, with Donald Trump, black people are not picking peas. Black people are not working at chicken plants in Alabama. Now, I know a couple of black people are working at Tyson's chicken plant in Eastern Shores, but that's Virginia. But when it comes to some of these other southern states, black people are not doing those jobs. And I just think that Donald Trump just went back to himself. He could not help it. He could not help it. You would think that situation in Butler, Pennsylvania would have humbled him. But no, not at all. Not at all. So he went and he turned, and then he started talking about fear. He started talking about COVID. I mean, Donald Trump, you were the one who, a lot of people lost their lives because you did not mandate that vaccine. You were telling people, could we put bleach? And I mean, it was crazy, you all. So I was listening to the speech, and there was so many lies in the speech. But the bottom line is it rambled on and on. And I'm like, I think he did the Democrats a favor. Now look, either Joe needs to go or something needs to happen. But This was a window of opportunity. This is a window of opportunity. What's up, St. James? This is a window of opportunity for the Democrats. I think Harris would beat Trump. I think Newsom. I think Gretchen Whitmore might beat Trump before Newsom. Newsom is California, and people don't like Californians. No shade, but Newsom, I don't know. Whitmore, Harris. Lord, I just pray that Michelle Obama something comes over her. But Michelle, that's a shoe in right there. They love Michelle. They love Michelle. But I think the Democrats have a chance, and I think this COVID thing with Biden has just he's no. And you all, I'm with him, but I know Kamala Harris be running the country because Joe and that COVID and let me say this about Joe. I understand why Joe is running because of the Donald Trump thing, but we can't let ego get it. And I think Joe is really trying to push Harris up, and I think Harris is coming up with some sharp rhetoric, and I think that's what he's really trying to do. But Joe, you fought a good fight, and let me say this: sometimes the soldier get tired, and but I'm not gonna lie. I would rather have Joe than Trump because as old as Joe may be, and it's not about his age. It's not about his age. It's about can he do the job? Is he going to be up to it? Because that COVID, it's just a lot of stuff that I'm seeing right now. And Donald Trump acuity is no better, believe it or not. I mean, how he rambles on. But he's such a narcissist and he's such a bully that people overlook that. And I just think that's the problem. I think both of them are getting more fragile as the age comes. Even Nancy Pelosi knew when it was her time to move on. So I think the Democrats have some serious decisions to make. Whatever decision they make, I'm going to vote Democrat because the Republicans offered nothing tonight. Nothing tonight. All we have heard is what Joe didn't do, which was a lie. All we heard is let's make America great again, but no concrete policies, nothing. Now, we know that Project 2020 is their project. We know that's their project, but they're not coming out and saying anything about it. But we know that's what it is. And we know that it is a great danger to women, LGBTQIA communities, Black communities, diversity, equity, and inclusion, voting rights, voting districts. I mean, it's a lot at stake, you all. If you are in the civil service and if you're a Democrat, you lose your job. It's almost like they're stacking people to do their bidding. And I think that's a problem. And so no one is mentioning that. And then, I had to go to the news shows. So CNN is saying that it's terrible. He rambled on. MSNBC, they were going to tear him up. But baby, Fox News, I'm telling you, when I tell you Fox News was spinning it, they were spinning it. So you all, I am convinced that Democrats have a way to win. I think after this speech, I think after this dismal performance, I think the Democrats could come back, and I think that if they play their cards right and do the right thing, I think they can win this. This man is absolutely dangerous. And then he started praising Orban and talking about how he was friends with North Korea's dictators, and it was just a bunch of lies. And he doesn't want to admit it, but they said that he is the worst president that the United States ever had. and that inflation ran rampant under him. And so, again, I don't know if he's looking at it, but baby, Politico fact check is tearing him up right now. It was so many lies that were told tonight. So I really wanted to bring that out. And you all, I'm actually getting back from Bucky's. I had to get some gas, so I wanted to come on. So I am going to be transitioning out from my Bluetooth in the car. So it may be a little sticky, but I am coming on. So don't go anywhere. I'm just transitioning out of my car into my home. But St. James, I went over to St. James and listened to a little bit of what they were doing, and I just couldn't believe the lies. I just could not believe the lies. There was so many lies told. So Lord Jesus, hold on, y'all. Let me get in my garage. Okay, now let me get on in here. All right, I am in the garage, y'all. Let me close my garage up. And we are not liberal, you all. Believe it or not, we are really not liberal. I mean, this man is dangerous. I just don't. I don't know if people realize how dangerous Trump is. He is extremely dangerous, and he his real self came in after he left that teleprompter, and he's so arrogant he cannot even stay on the teleprompter. And had he stayed on the prompter, it may have been a good speech, but it was very low energy, as he would put it, very low energy, very low energy. It was terrible. It was terrible tonight. And Melania, oh, let me get to Miss Melania, honey. When I tell you Miss Melania, Melania seemed like she was very repulsed. She was giving very repulsed. She was giving, I just have to do this. And then she started walking away. He is just, I mean, did y'all see her body language? Now, am I looking into that too deep? Am I looking into that too deeply, honey? Because Miss Melania was not here for it. Okay, when I tell you Miss Melania was like, I should have just been home. I just really didn't want to be here. I just had to show up. And then you had Ivanka, and all of them looked like they just had to show up. They just didn't want to be there. Hold on for a minute, y'all. Give me a minute. Can you all hear me now? I might have to come in and come back out. Give me a minute. I'm gonna come in and come back out. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. But this is what I don't understand. So anyway, y'all, I was talking about Melania. Honey, when I tell you Melania looked like she just didn't want to be there. And then when she got up on that stage, he tried to kiss her and she turned her face to the side and then she walked away from him. Ooh, it was just ooh wee. Baby, I know they living in separate houses. I know ooh, because baby, that wasn't good, y'all. When I tell y'all that ain't cute, it ain't cute. It ain't nothing cute about it. It ain't nothing cute about it. Let me see what you said. But this is what I don't understand, Pastor. Why is it when black people vote, it's vote against another parent? Everybody votes policy based, but black people, we always have to vote against. I don't get that. This is why we don't get any tangibles. Well, let me say this. I think black people are voting policy. I think black people need to hold their representatives accountable. Like
Jim Clyburn, they need to hold him accountable. And I'm gonna tell you why they need to hold Jim Clyburn accountable. And because South Carolina should have gotten more from Trump, I mean from Biden than they did. South Carolina is the reason why Biden is the reason why Biden is in office. And I just think that at the end of the day, black people need to demand more from these black congressional leaders. They need to demand more and say, hey, we got you in. And if you don't do our bidding, we'll get you out. And it's really funny because when I truly believe when low wealth white people complain, everybody takes notice. They take notice. And so I think that that has to happen. I think black people got to hold people's feet to the fire. Because my thing is, I don't think Project 2025 is going to benefit black people. I don't think that policy is going to benefit women. So I just think that we have to. I think right now, though, I think this thing is deeper than just black folk. I just think this thing is like democracy. It's I'm telling you, y'all, I don't even want to get a glimpse of what could happen under Trump. I don't, because we saw what happened when he was in control, and then he didn't want to give up power. I just can't fathom that. Oh, she hates him, St. James. She hates him with a passion. But we really need to get Democrats in because we need to get some Supreme Court justices in play. We really need to take back the House and the Senate. We need to bring back our diversity, equity, inclusion. It's a lot that the Republicans have really messed up, and we got to do better. We really do. And so I don't think I'm telling you, y'all. After tonight's performance, I'm like, I don't care if it's Joe. I don't care if it's Bubbles the monkey with Michael Jackson. I don't, because again, I'm listening to Donald Trump. He could not stay on that prompter. And the man is just crazy, you all. And he started talking about Hannibal Lecter, child. I'm like, what does Hannibal? And then he equated that to Democrats, and then he started talking about the department. Everything reverted back to him and how he's been persecuted, and that man is going for revenge. And I'm serious. I mean, I think that news reporters will have to be on guard because I can see them going to jail. His political opponents. That man is, and he praises Viktor Orban and all of these authority figures. And what the political commentators kept saying is that his speeches were like Lenin and dictators, where people were afraid to say, this speech is too long. And I think it's a whole cult. And let me say this too. Let me say this too. Yeah, Miss Things Project 25 was talking about getting rid of veterans benefits permanently. I'm telling you. No, the Democratic Party is not the problem, baby. Not. No, I don't think so. No, I don't think they're the problem. I think that Republican National Conference is the problem. And the sad part about it is they felt uncomfortable with Trump's speech. They felt uncomfortable. And that's what you get when you allow these MAGA Republicans to run your party. Because at the end of the day, there are no Mitt Romneys and there are no John McCains that are standing up in the Republican Party. Let me tell you something. I'm not a John McCain fan, but I will say this. When it came to the Affordable Health Care Act, John McCain went against his own and did it with kiss my behind bravado. And I give by John McCain that. So let me say this. Miss Thing, baby, it sounds like it's a personal problem. And if you're part of the 1%, and if you're part of that wealthy group, then that's maybe how you feel. But I'm just telling you, if you're not a part of that group, baby, it's crazy. And this is the thing. He sat there and trashed another union. And this is why I think the Teamsters better watch out, because the Teamsters don't realize that these Republicans do not want collective bargaining. And I have seen meatpacking plants that were union, where the workers were getting paid very good wages, and they talked the people out of being union, and then they broke their pay down to $11 an hour. No one could live off of that. And the town, um, didn't want Mexicans and foreigners there, but they had nobody to run the plant. And so but they needed these people's money. So they didn't want these people to be who they were in their town. They wanted to act like white people, but yet they wanted their taxpayer dollars. Because again, the other people had to leave because the corporation actually reduced their pay because they got rid of their union. Child, look, y'all better watch these 1%ers. And it's really funny because, baby, I was sitting there listening to Wiley, and I'm like, ooh, Wiley, you need to stop. Baby, Wiley is wigging out, wilding out, whatever it is. And I don't know if they need to recalibrate the meds over there. But it's crazy. Trump did nothing. Trump actually hurt. I mean, COVID was a disaster. It was a disaster. Inflation increased under him, and historians have already said he is the worst president in the United States. And again, that man is going to be fact checked tonight, and I'm telling you, he is a whole liar. So if you want to vote for him, you go right ahead. I would rather vote for Bubbles the monkey before I would vote for him. I'm telling you, I would rather vote for Biden with COVID than vote for him. The man is awful. The man is awful, period. And the sad part about it is that a lot of people have lost their jobs because of his reckless policies. I mean, talking about something, we don't need to be a part of NATO. Are you crazy? Are you crazy? Not only have we have to be careful about our domestic, but abroad as well. And again, anybody who doesn't get foreign policy is crazy. So many ambassadors and people quit under Trump administration because he did not know what he was doing. He just didn't. So all I'm going to say is that man does not fit my interest. First of all, the Affordable Care Act is very valuable. When I was laid off, I had to have it. Did I like the HMO? No, because you have to get referrals. But did I have insurance? Absolutely yes. And again, that helps. I can't understand how somebody wants to stop abortions, but then they take money from Head Start and education. That don't make no sense. So now we have this major prison pipeline, you know, and I just think it's crazy. We're looking at what's happening in Houston with this administrator who's taking libraries out of inner city schools and using these things as punishment halls. And I'm like, okay, this is what we're doing. And now his stuff is crap. We see what Betsy DeVos terrible, terrible policies did to our public schools, which is crazy. Ben Carson was awful. The whole administration was mediocre at best, and people know that. People know that. So again, I just laugh at him. I just laugh at the situation, and I think it's crazy. Oh, I felt a lot of the Republicans felt. I mean, first of all, he went off of script, and when he goes off of script, it is terrible. And he went off a script. He started talking about Hannibal Lecter. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And then he started talking about, I guess, these black jobs. And can I say something? These people are talking about building the wall, and these immigrants are coming in and taking jobs. I live in Texas, and let me say this: they look forward to the Mexican nationals coming in and shopping at their shops. A lot of those border towns want ICE to leave because hotels have gone up, and the cost of groceries have gone up because they know that these government workers need these rooms and they need food, and guess who's paying for it? The government. So things go up, and it's all because of that wall situation, right? Can I tell you how hypocritical these people are? State of Florida and Alabama, they did not want these migrant workers because they taking our jobs, right? Child, we ain't working them jobs now. Because of the immigration issues, they don't have nobody to pick that lettuce and pick them strawberries, and now they're upset. But now they're trying to say Trump, when Trump was in charge, can we get away to keep them or give them a card? But yet, so what you're saying is we want these people to work for us. We want these people to work for us and work pennies on the dollar. But we want to get rid of them after we use them, and we can go ahead and dispose of them, and we can move on with them. Because again, they were the ones who were saying build a wall, but when those immigrants stopped working those farms, then they changed their tune. They changed their tune. See, this is the kind of stuff that you got to realize what's really going on. And I just think it was funny. To me, he was insulting Mexican people and trying to hold them up. Did not he say that Milwaukee was a trashy city and they had a black mayor? So you know how that looked. But that's it. The man is racist. The man didn't even want Kwame to win in The Apprentice. He was trying to get a white uh, co-winner to go along with him because he didn't want a black man to win his show. Ain't that messy? You know you are racist when the Nixon administration hit you for housing discrimination. Child, it is crazy. And I just sit here and laugh at these people. You cannot continue to cut taxes on these wealthy corporations because, again, they need to pay their fair share. And you're not going to put it on the middle class because if we do it Trump's way and Project 2025 way, the middle class will be paying $2,064 more in taxes than they're paying now. Is that what we want? I'm just asking because, again, that's what Project 2025 is doing. Uh-huh. See, again, I'm never going to vote against my interest. And my thing is, I'm not saying that Democrats have the right answers for everything either, but I would rather take that poison that's going to give me a chance to live than take that arsenic that's going to kill me right away. Because, honey, that poison that they going to give folk going to kill you right away. So I just think it's funny. Baby, I'm not worried about Miss Things, baby, I'm just sitting here talking because she knows that if she wants to vote for Trump, you go ahead and vote for him. But you can't tell people whose mind is made up what they're going to do. I think it's very ignorant and stupid to try to tell people who they should or should not vote for. My ideology is not going to change. I see who this person is. And all I'm going to say is Miss Things can vote for who she wants to because this is America. And in America, we can vote for who we want to. And my thing is, I think that democracy is on the line, and I'm going to vote Democratic, whether it's Biden, whether it's Harris, whether it's Whitmore, or whether it's Newsom. I am going to vote Democrat because, again, I see people who look like me. I see diversity. And even though it's not all together there, I would rather deal with that dysfunctional family than that other crazy family. I mean, who wants a Marjorie Taylor Greene and a Gates and all of these racist, foul people? I mean, who wants to deal with that? I think it's just ignorant. And this is not the Republican Party of Ronald Reagan. This is not the Republican Party of Mitt Romney, nor the Republican Party of John McCain. This is a white nationalistic, white evangelical nationalistic racist organization going on. And I don't want to be a part of it. Yeah, her too. She's crazy. Crazy. And again, they want to talk about Obama. How many times Obama divorced Michelle? How many times Obama has been in scandal? I mean, this man was with a porn star when his wife was pregnant, done paid that lady off, then E. Jean Carroll done got some money because the court found him guilty. This is a convicted felon, 34 counts, convicted felon, a convicted felon. And I am so glad they appealed that case because he needs to give an account of those classified documents. I mean, you didn't have this from Obama. I'm telling you, this man is trash, just pure trash, trash. And I don't care who says what, he's trash. Did y'all hear any policies? All I heard was how Biden was doing so bad, but I didn't hear any solutions. All I heard was good feelings, but I didn't hear any policies. I didn't hear anything about that. And I'm like, well, this is crazy. The same speech. I'm like, we didn't hear anything. And baby, when you got to bring Hulk Hogan and Kid Rock to your RNC, I'm like, this is crazy. This is, and then Marco Rubio was lying, and that JD Vance was a hot. I'm gonna say this: JD Vance was but it wasn't spectacular either, you know. And then y'all, okay, I'm looking at the people they bringing up. Baby, you know your party is really in dire straits when they got to bring Amber Rose up to talk about she biracial. She ain't black. She biracial. First of all, Amber Rose the scripper. Amber Rose the scripper. Now we let's not forget now. Amber Rose was doing that poll. Bands can make her dance. Bands will make her dance. And then she was Kanye West's courtesan. And now all of a sudden she's this expert on blackness, but she ain't really black. I thought that was hilarious. And I'm listening to her and I'm like, girl, you get paid. And again, you're a whole grifter. This is a grifter. I can't even give it gaslighting. It's a grifter. Ben Carson, I'm going to give Ben that. He was an excellent surgeon, neurosurgeon. But when it came to HUD and housing, just because you lived in the project, that don't mean you could be over HUD and housing, okay? I'm like, what was this about? So all of the black people was really like, really though? And I'm just like, they have no heavy hitters in the Republican Party. It was like the people that was coming up, I'm like, ooh, this is not good. And nobody really, when Hulk Hogan is probably about your best speaker, you know your party is in a tailspin. Because honey, Hulk Hogan was probably the most exciting speaker up. And I didn't even hear the speech. All I saw was somebody ripping their shirt off. Girl, all I saw was somebody ripping their shirt off. I'm like, this is a hot mess. This is a hot mess. And baby, when I tell you, I didn't see the rap video. I look, it was so boring. I just started watching major speakers. When I tell you they are going to wear the hell out of that band-aid, the bandage on the ear, and then God saved him and all that, and then he went right from God into the Mexicans stealing your jobs and they building factories in Mexico and it should be in America and everything. So you want to appeal to the Hispanic people, but you're talking about them at the same time. And I'm going to tell you what, this is the kind of man Trump is. And again, this is fact. This is fact. The New York Times reported it. Joe Biden called the widow of the man who was unalived at Trump's rally. She did not accept Joe's call because her husband was a Trump supporter. And she felt that it would have disrespected his memory and so she didn't. She did say that Joe didn't do anything to her husband. It was this deranged Republican 20-year-old man who would have probably did the same thing to Biden. But Trump didn't even call the lady. Didn't even call the lady. But yet Trump is going to use that man's uniform. And when he kissed that hat, I'm like, oh my God, this is so cringeworthy. And y'all didn't catch it, but they had the man's name spelled wrong on the uniform. The name was spelled wrong on the uniform. But you kissing his hat, but you didn't notice that the man's name was spelled wrong on the uniform. Democrats, y'all got a chance, baby. Y'all got a shot. Y'all ain't out. When you're feeling low, nowhere to go. He's got it in control. All of my help. Oh, 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 all of my help. All of my help comes from you. Baby, like Ricky Dillon said, all of my help. Baby, y'all got some help. Y'all got some help. Because, baby, what they did tonight put y'all in a good position. All y'all got to do is figure out what y'all going to do and have a great convention. Because, baby, even the Democrats going through their little situation right now, I still think they got a chance. Ain't nobody ain't vote for that man. That man crazy. And let me do this while I'm on here. Because you know what? I'm going to do this fact check right now. I'm going to go to my laptop and I'm going to do this fact check because I think we need to fact check his speech. It was so many lies in that speech. And people will believe if you keep on repeating the lie, people will believe it. And I think that's what he's done to his followers. And so this is why I ignore these. See, y'all was getting mad talking about something. You need to delete these people. Honey, I ain't deleting these people. But what? These people the one who mad. Because let me go ahead and fact check this stuff. Let me go and fact check this stuff right now. I'm gonna fact check it right now. Because again, we getting ready to fact check. This speech was 90. Hold on for a minute, y'all. My God, today. Hold on, let me stop this. I didn't want all that. Oh, I hate these ads. My God, today. Let me look at this. Let's look at this. I'm going to do this fact check. It's by ABC News. And it says, former President Trump closed out the final night of the 2024 Republican National Convention with a 93-minute speech. that addressed a host of issues on Americans' minds. The economy under the Trump and Biden administration, events in the Middle East, and immigration were just some of the topics the GOP nominee covered as he made his case to the voters. So the ABC News politics team, 538, and the PolitiFacts team analyzed his comments to separate fact from fiction. Okay, let's get on over here to this. Border crossings. Invasion at our southern border that has spread misery, crime, poverty, disease, and destruction to communities across our land. This is false. There is no evidence of a major surge in crime caused by recent arrivals, and Trump's claims ignore the fact that crime is down across the country overall. Violent crimes were down 6% in the fourth quarter of 2023 through December 2023, compared to the same time frame last year, according to the FBI statistics. There was a 13% decline in murders and a 4% drop in property crimes across the country, the data show. Now, this is facts, baby. They fact checking. The declining trend followed unprecedented spikes in 2019 and 2020. Trump's last 2 years in office, stats showed. U.S. citizens also committed crimes at a higher rate than undocumented immigrants, because most of them don't want to have to go back. Now, not to say that some of these undocumented immigrants haven't committed crimes, but these are one-offs. These are not something happening at major outlets. No, it's not. A 2020 study in the proceeding of the National Academy of Science shows that U.S.-born citizens are over two times more likely to be arrested for violent crimes, 2.5 times more likely to be arrested for drug crimes, and over 4 times more likely to be arrested for property crimes than undocumented immigrants. Y'all hear this? And also, too, let me say something about J.D. Vance. Let me tell you what J.D. Vance has left out. I know where Middletown, Ohio is. Middletown, Ohio is between Cincinnati and Dayton, hence the name Middletown. Middletown was home of AK Steel. But because, again, AK Steel was greedy for money, they locked their workers out. And guess what? All of the unions came to those workers' aids. You know why I know this? Because I was working for an employment office at that time. And we worked on a special project to help those AK Steel workers out. Okay? And that's the truth. And the sad part about it, you all, is that a lot of those workers were white men, and a lot of them didn't have their high school diplomas. And they were trapped because here they are at AK Steel making $38 to $40 an hour without a high school diploma. Who's going to hire you when you turn 59 and you're making $40 to $50 an hour without a high school diploma? Not only that, because of AK Steel's situation, and this is why we got to understand that we always want to say that these black cities are so bad and everything. Well, let me tell you something. When AK Steel did that number on Middletown, people lost jobs, people lost hope, and guess what happened? People started doing drugs. How do we know? Because J.D. Vance said his mama was on drugs. Thank God she been clean for 10 years. But his mama was on drugs. And Middletown is a predominantly white city, such as Springfield, Ohio, and Richmond, Indiana. But meth has hit those cities so hard, but you don't hear the news and the people going there. See, they'll go to inner city Chicago, and they'll go to Overtown, Miami. They'll go to Watts and all of these places, and they'll go to the Bronx. But no one goes to Middletown, Ohio. No one goes to Springfield, Ohio. No one goes to Chillicothe, Ohio, and those cities on the West Virginia border. No one goes to Southern Indiana and Richmond, Indiana, where these people are meth out. It's so bad in Ohio now that employers are having problems getting employees because a lot of these people can't pass the drug test. But we're not talking about that. And also, nobody is talking about the fact that J.D. Vance was financed by a millionaire for his whole political life. No one talks about that. So let me move on with this check. I just wanted to throw that in because I don't think we get this. And living in Ohio, yeah, we saw what happened when the unions and stuff left. And let me go far as this too. People who work for these car manufacturers, don't forget it was Obama who gave y'all the money. The Republicans didn't want to give y'all the money. They wanted y'all to go bankrupt and close. But Obama said no. And let us not forget that Biden walked the picket line. And Trump talked about it. And talked about it bad because Trump sided with management. And now all of a sudden you a new changed man. Okay, we're gonna move right along. See, people forget that. I don't forget that. Oh, no. We don't forget those kind of things. See, yeah. So I think it's funny. Let's talk about this border wall now. Trump claims he would end immigration crisis by closing our borders and finishing the wall, most of which I've already built. That's what he said. Fact check. This is false. Contrary to Trump's claim that he built more than 500 miles of border wall, by the end of his term and after various funding fights in Washington, he actually implemented roughly 450 miles of barriers, much of which was just upgrading existing barriers that already existed, according to the Government Accountability Office report. Of that, roughly 50 miles were new wall construction where no barrier previously existed. Roughly 30 miles were secondary wall built along existing walls, and roughly 370 miles were upgrading previous barriers. And this is from, but we're talking about that, right? Yeah, the wall that Mexico was supposed to pay for. We shouldn't even be paying for it. Mexico was supposed to pay for that. Y'all remember that? Trump argued dangerous criminals are coming from prisons and jails and from mental institutions and insane asylums and terrorists at levels never seen before. Oh, he talked about Hannibal Lecter on this. Needs context. Trump was likely referring to the last statistics released by ICE, which reported that of the 170,590 administrative arrests made in 2023 fiscal year, and 43% had criminal convictions or pending criminal charges. These were administrative arrests conducted by ICE's enforcement and removal operation, which primarily focuses on removing people who already have some sort of charge or conviction. So this wasn't in context. And context is everything. And he talked about catch and release. We just gonna go through this. While discussing the border and immigration, Trump said his administration ended all catch and release. False, and need more context. Though Trump attempted to end the catch and release practice under his presidency, migrants were more likely to be released through this process under Trump compared to Biden. According to the Libertarian Cato Institute, the Cato analysis found that Biden immigration authorities released 48.6% of those apprehended at the border, while Trump administration released 52.2% over roughly a 2-year period. Of course, the absolute numbers of releases have been higher under President Biden, but that reflects much higher arrivals, not any meaningful change in policy, Cato David J. Beer wrote. Let's go to the economy. Trump claims that several times tonight, many times before, has claimed tax legislation passed during his presidency was the largest tax cut ever. This is false, and it needs more explanation. Trump has repeated this statement often. When it was passed, Trump's tax cut was in inflation-adjusted dollars, the fourth largest since 1940, and as a percentage of GDP, it ranked 7th. He also said people don't realize I brought taxes way down, way down, and yet we took more revenue the following year than we did when the tax rate was much higher. Now, this is technically true, but misleading. If you look at when the tax bill passed, come on now, it's not clear at all that an increase in tax receipts followed the bill's passage. Every year, the U.S. population grows, and except during a recession, the size of the economy grows too. So you expect receipts to be higher every year, all other things equal, said Benjamin A. Page, a senior fellow at the Urban Institute Brookings Institute Tax Policy Center, told PolitiFact previously. If you look at when the tax bill passed, it's not clear at all that an increase in tax receipts followed the bill's passage. For the 3 months of the fiscal 2018, prior to the tax cut, individual income tax collection rose by 10.8% over the equivalent period from 2017, but the rise for the 7th month after the tax cut was 6.7. And if you look at the total tax collection from every category, rather than just individual income tax, the picture is even worse. During the 7-month period after the tax bill was passed, total receipts actually fell slightly compared to the equivalent period in 2017, about 0.1 of a percentage point. Perhaps the most revealing comparison takes into account the May to July period because it excludes the spike in payments in April, when most Americans pay taxes on income generated in 2017 before the tax law was passed. During that period, individual income tax collection fell about 1% compared to 2017. See, people be lying. During his presidency, Trump said that the U.S. had the best economy in history of our country, no inflation and soaring incomes. False. One of the strongest ways to assess the economy is the unemployment rate, which fell during Trump's presidency to levels untouched in 5 decades, but his successor, Joe Biden, matched or exceeded those levels. Another measure, the annual increase in gross domestic product, were broadly similar under Trump to what they were during the final 6 years under his predecessor, Obama. And the GDP growth under Trump was well below that of previous presidents. Wage growth increased under Trump, but to say that they soared is an exaggeration. Adjusted for inflation, wages began rising during the Barack Obama years and kept increasing under Trump. But those were modest compared with the 2% a year increase seen in the 1960s. Another metric, the growth rate in personal consumption per person adjusted for inflation, wasn't higher under Trump than previous presidents. For families, this statistic serves an economic activity bottom line, determining how much they can spend on food, clothing, housing, health care, and travel. In Trump, 3 years in office through January 2020, real consumption per person grew by 2% a year. Of the 30 non-overlapping 3 years periods from 1929 to the end of his presidency, Trump's period ranked in the bottom third. As for inflation being zero, that's also wrong. It was low, ranging between 1.8% and 2.4% increases year over year in 2017, 2018, and 2019. This is roughly the range the Federal Reserve likes to see. During the pandemic dominated year of 2020, inflation fell to 1.2 because demand plummeted as entertainment and travel collapsed. I want y'all to check this out now. See, people be lying. People be lying. People be lying. Trump said he would reverse government regulations to encourage the development of electric vehicles, saying in doing so, he'd be saving the U.S. auto industry from complete obliteration, which is happening now. False. During Biden's presidency, employment in auto and parts manufacture had risen by 127,800 jobs through December 2023. And you must remember that Obama saved the auto industry because the Republicans wanted them to go bankrupt. Trump said we got credit for the war and defeating ISIS and so many things, the great economy, the biggest tax cut ever, the biggest regulation cuts ever, the creation of Space Force, the rebuilding of our military. We did so much, Trump said. This needs context. We'll get to the tax cut in a second. Here we'll focus on the claim about ISIS. Trump rightly gets credit for shrinking the territory ISIS controlled, but it's wrong to say ISIS was or is defeated. According to the data from IHS Markit, a private defense and security research firm, the area controlled by the Islamic State went from 90,800 square kilometers in January 2015 to 6,759 square kilometers in January 2018. That's a 93% reduction in territory. But the success, Trump claims, was built upon strategy and attacks that were launched under President Barack Obama. The campaign to defeat ISIS took shape in September 2014 under the name of Operation Inherent Resolve. According to the U.S. Air Force Central Command data, coalition forces engaged the enemy over 33,000 times between the launch of the operation and November 2017. The Air Force includes strikes taking place in August 2014. Counting only sorties in which at least one weapon was released. About 3/4 of the action took place during the Obama years. The Air Force reports over 104,000 missiles, bombs, and other explosives dropped in the course of the campaign. About 2/3 of that came before Trump took office. Though ISIS no longer holds territory, it continues to operate and has worked to expand its global presence through affiliates in Africa, the Middle East, Asia, according to the Congressional Research service. I'm just doing the fact check. Discussing U.S. engagement in Afghanistan, Trump said we also left behind 85 million worth of military equipment. False. That is wrong. The United States spent 88.6 billion in Afghanistan providing security assistance over the course of 2 decades, and only a fraction of it was for hardware. The lion's share of that is for salaries for members of the Afghan army and the National Police, factcheck.org reported. As of June 30th, 2021, there was 167 unstable aircraft, including 23 A-29 attack planes and 33 UH-60 Black Hawk military helicopters left in Afghanistan, according to a July 2021 report released by the Special Inspector General for Afghanistan Reconstruction. But there has been no full accounting of how much aircraft or other military equipment was still there in mid-August. When the Taliban regained control, defense expert John Pike, director of globalsecurity.org, told PolitiFact very little of the 88.6 billion would have been spent on equipment. He estimated that the military equipment remaining is worth less than 10 billion, though virtually all of it could be considered under the category of weapons. Let's move on. I'm just moving on, y'all, because it was a lot of lies told. Trump claimed in his speech that he's leading in Nevada by 14 points. That's not true. According to 538's polling average, he leads Biden by only 6 points in the Silver State. That's still impressive, though. Even the best polls for Trump gives him only a 10-point lead in Nevada. So again, he's winning, but don't embellish. Trump said we had the worst inflation we ever had under this person, Biden. False. Although inflation is still considered an economic problem for the U.S., the overall rate is nowhere near a record. The highest inflation rate were recorded during the 1970s and the early 80s, when the annual price increase sometimes hovered over 12% and 15%. The highest rate on Biden's watch was around 9% in the summer of 2022. That was the highest monthly figure in about 4 decades, but not the highest ever. Inflation is down to around 3% now, about 2/3 lower than its peak in 2022. I want y'all to get this, because you got to get this fact check. Trump said Biden's administration, this is the only administration that said we're going to raise your taxes by 4 times what you're paying now. False. Biden proposes a tax increase of roughly 7% over the next decade, not 300% as Trump claimed. About 83% of the proposed Biden's tax increase would be borne by the top 1% of taxpayers, who earns just under 1 million a year in income. So again, you all of this stuff can be fact checked, and Trump did a whole lot of lying. So that's it. So I don't think Biden's record is anything to be ashamed of. I think Biden got a lot accomplished. I truly believe that the Democrats need to either rally around Biden or get another candidate. I think this COVID thing has really put a hamper on some stuff. But I'm going to say this, the Democrats need to do what they need to do right away, because I think they have a chance. Trump lied. He got off of that prompter. It was a whole mess. He was talking about Hannibal Lecter. He was lying all over the place. And it was just embarrassing. It was just a lot of just talking. And it just shows you that this man doesn't know what he's talking about. And I don't think that it's going to work well. And I do believe that the people in the Republican Party I think they were really embarrassed after all of that bubbling. It was a 93-minute speech. 93 minutes. 93 minutes. It made no sense. So again, you all, I just wanted to come up here and fact check what he was saying. And a lot of this stuff was either embellished or taken out of context, but the most of it was lies. He was talking about Hannibal Lecter, baby, and talking about the Silence of the Lambs. And then he brought in and he tried to tie something in, but when he got off that prompter, it just brought back all of the ugly stuff. Um, I did not see him bringing the nation together. I felt it was more division. He started talking about the DOJ. He started talking about his situation and how they were trying to get him, and it was like, oh my God. And then he's talking about the immigrants and how they're doing all of this bad stuff. And again, it's like, no, sir. And you got to know, y'all, businesses are really hurting because they don't have people to work in these fields. There is a real labor shortage, especially for low wage, low skill workers. Black people, for the most part, are not doing those jobs. Most Americans are not doing those jobs. Let me give y'all an example. They have a place in San Antonio called Fresh Texas where they slice all of the fruit and all of the stuff for HEB. Most of those people working in there, baby, they they got green cards, and most of those people, because you know what? The working conditions are awful. The pay is awful. The equipment is awful. And most people from San Antonio will do that job for a couple of weeks and they quit. You know who takes those jobs? The immigrants and those people who have felons and can't get no job nowhere else. See, nobody ain't talking about that. Nobody's talking about that. Nobody's talking about that. Yeah, yeah. So again, they want people to believe that these immigrants are doing all of this crime. And this is the sad part about it, because in New York, they had that situation where they had a few of those immigrants fighting police, but that's not all immigrants. And again, y'all got to realize that most of these immigrants are trying to stay out of jail because they don't want to be deported. And I just think it's sad. But again, all of this is to scare people. And a lot of this is based on about racism as well, because again, you all, the 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 majority population is shrinking, and they're not going to be the majority for long, and it scares them. I'm tired of hearing we want our country back. Your country's never been anywhere. You just don't like the color that your country is turning. It's being more multiracial, and it's more people of color than white people, and that scares some people. And again, people don't want to share power. This is why they don't like diversity, equity, inclusion. See, they don't mind if you diverse. They don't mind if you include it. They just don't want you equal. And see, you can't have true diversity and inclusion unless you got equality. And I think that's the biggest thing. And so we're seeing this. And I'm not saying that the Democrats have it all together, but my thing is, don't go against your interest. And my thing is, make sure that you're going to go with the party that aligns most with your interests. And even though they may not be, you know, everything that you want, But if you get most of what you want, that's where you go. Period. You welcome, Justin Sanchez. Yeah, baby. She's definitely an immigrant, Madam Moselle. But I'm gonna tell you what, honey. Tonight he tried to kiss her, and when I tell you, she gave him that right cheek real quick. She gave him that right cheek, and and um and again, she was not gonna kiss him on the lips, and then she walked away from him. It's like she was like, I just gotta be here. She said, I really don't want to be here, but I just gotta be here tonight. She said, let me just go ahead and show up. And I'm going to tell y'all, I would be very offended if I was the fireman's wife, because they brought that uniform all the way to the RNC, and then Donald Trump is going to kiss that hat. It was so cringeworthy. And then what really bothered me is, y'all, they spelled the name wrong on the uniform. The name wasn't even spelled right on the uniform. How tacky and unbelievable can you get? I'm telling you. And I don't even know what the hell Hulk Hogan said. I just figured he was the most exciting thing there because he took off his shirt and he was acting crazy. So, but it was crazy. The whole thing was a hot mess, from Amber Rose to Ben Carson, JD Vance, uninspiring. I mean, his mama's story was good, but you're not telling us how those people were hurt because of policies, established by you all. And I just think that's crazy. But his speech wasn't that great. And Donald Trump, these are supposed to be the people who running for office, definitely was just below. It was very subpar. And had he just stayed to the teleprompter in the script, it might have been a little bit better. But he had to get off a script, get off a teleprompter, because he knows best, and you can't tell him nothing. And he just sounded like a whole babbling idiot. So you look, y'all. I'm going to go into bed now. I just wanted to come on. I know that I have been messy in these YouTube streets, but I think this is deeper, and I think this is some stuff that we need to know. Now, I am going to be messy, baby. Why is Wiley talking about the Democrats is being funded by Armand? The Armand is being funded by the Democrats, girl, and he didn't get his Trump check yet, his Republican check yet, but he's Republican, and the Democratic Party's out to him. Is he okay? Is he okay? Is he okay? Yeah, Mademoiselle, that's been a big thing too. Baby, Wiley is Republican now, baby. But I'm like, okay. Well, let me say this. I don't care if you vote Republican, that's your business. But I'm telling you why I am not. This is why I'm looking at these fact checks. Not gotcha stories, or no, I'm looking at fact checks, and that's important. And people vote for who they want to. Vote your conscience. All I'm saying is just be careful and know what's going on. And then I'm gonna try to get a real short synopsis of Project 2025, because it is so exhaustive. It is so much stuff, but I really want to get some major highlights that will affect us, and women. And I just want to make sure to get some highlights. There are a lot of things, going on with Project 2025, but I'm definitely going to do the highlights. We have to be informed. And I just think that I really had to, I just think I really had to look at the speech tonight. And in the speech tonight, just, yeah, it told me everything that I needed to know. Madam Pierre, some people are sipping on that Kool-Aid. And again, if you're not part of that 1%, you're not going to be helped. But people do what they want to do. And that's all I'm saying, you all. So if somebody wants to vote for Trump, go ahead, if that's what you want to do. But I'm not going to go against my interest, and I'm going to look at it from a different way. And I don't think that his civil rights record, his women reproductive rights record, that's not going to work for me. And so that's how I feel. Well, look, y'all, I'm getting ready to take it in. I'm going to bed. I just wanted to come on in here and give you all this info and give my opinion on the speech, but yet also bring you the facts from the fact check to really dissect this speech and find out what was real, what was not real, what was fabricated and embellished, and what was taken out of context. I think all of that is very important. So look, y'all have a good night. I will probably talk to y'all in the morning. Peace and love.